So, it looks like everyone's favorite pop culture reviewer has, well, out of character, done actually a timely review on semi-timely review on probably the biggest release of last month. So she has done that within the month, apparently. This review totally slipped my fucking radar. Radar. Come on, guys. Honest conversation here. Let's be accurate. No, but seriously, radar, because I don't know how that happened, but apparently it slipped my radar. So, you know what? I'm gonna go through this. As soon as you see the fucking thumbnail, I honestly laugh. Like, look at... The thing about it is that we all, like, stereotype her as, Miss Wonderful Keesian evil pop culture witch cretin, whatever, as basically, a resting bitch face, kind of like that condescending, you're not allowed to do this because I'm a feminist kind of thing, right? And the fact that they put that in the thumbnail, I almost feel like because it's Jukesian, it's just a honeypot, but at the same time, it's just fucking laughable that the thumbnail has the resting bitch face. It's like, do you want people to click on your video because you think it's fun, or do you think people click on your videos more often because they're there to make, criticize you and critique videos of you, like yours truly? Just something interesting that I've noticed, or I genuinely would wonder about if we could unlock the mind, the mysterious mind of Jukesian, obviously, right? Now, I guess, of course, it's time to stop, talking about the thumbnail and actually, talk about the actual video. I'm going to skip the intro because she seems to make an intro every fucking year, which honestly seems like an appropriate use of funds for such a highly reputable charity that, is sitting on a pile of cash, obviously, right? That does nothing but bitch about pop culture, I guess. But, I'm going to skip it because this one I found particularly off in terms of it's particularly loud compared to the audio and shit like that. It was also, I just found it semi-annoying. I spent more time talking about it than actually skipping it. Fucking hell.
Shortly before Rogue One was released, a clip of the late, great Carl Sagan discussing the original Star Wars made the rounds on social media.
Carl Sagan is an idiot who thinks that, why Star Wars so white? Ooh, why Star Wars so white? Well, because, I don't know if you noticed, but 80% of the country was white at the time Star Wars was made. It was 1977, and nobody gave a shit about progressivism then, so... yeah.
In it, Sagan noted the fact that the people who populated the fictional sci-fi setting in the film were almost entirely white.
Star Wars has a whole bunch of other things. They're all white. The skin of all the humans in Star Wars, oddly enough, is sort of like this. Right. And not even the other colors represented on the Earth are present, much less greens and blues and purples and oranges.
You have seen in Star Wars with a lot of strange characters.
Yeah, but none of them seem to be in charge of the galaxy. Everybody in charge of the galaxy seems to look like us.
Hold on, sorry, I made a correction here. I need to make a correction here. It's apparently only Carl Sagan gave a shit about Star Wars being only white in 1977. So apparently I am stated corrected. It was hashtag not all. Hashtag not all. Come on. Not all white people didn't give a shit about progressivism in 1977. But of course, he's still talking retardedly because, only white people, in a galaxy full of space aliens, only white people run this shit. It's the evil empire. You want the evil empire to be a race of black people? Of course, I have a feeling that's not the case. I imagine you would consider that demonization of black people. Just like a lot of people in your progressive circle that are really outraged about Darth Vader being black. And the reason for this, of course, is because they don't understand Star Wars.
It's wonderful that 39 years after the release of that film, Rogue One rectifies this issue to some degree.
Rectifies this issue to some degree. There was never a problem to begin with, and of course you're gonna bitch about something that the most It's never enough. It's never enough. Like I said before, it's just never enough with progressivism. Where does the buck stop? It doesn't stop anywhere. I mean, I could go into more detail of that, but I think that's another video for another topic that I find very interesting as well.
Giving us a vision of a galaxy far, far away that more closely reflects the diversity of humanity here on Earth.
Of course, my diversity. That's all that fucking matters here is. It's not about how good of a movie it is, or whether it breaks standards, or changes the movie industry, or something revolutionary that everyone's like, holy shit, that was an amazing explosion that LucasArts created, or something like that, you know. Wow, special effects. Wow, that's an adventurous movie. Wow, I want to be just like Indiana Jones, or something like that, you know. It's not about that. It's about how diverse it is. That's the benchmark here, okay? Remember that, people.
In A New Hope, the headquarters of the Rebel Alliance on Yavin 4 is populated almost entirely by white people.
Wow, wonderful. I honestly do not give a two fucks. I mean, this isn't Stormfront here, so if you want me to bitch solely because there is diversity in this movie, go to Stormfront, go to those white nationalist sites. Just go there because I'm not really that interested in it. The only real issue here is when diversity in entertainment is mandated. Because my issue is they're simply pushing an agenda that I don't give a fuck about, and they are sacrificing the quality of what they're making. Rather than being entertainers or artists, they're being ideologues.
It's refreshing to behold, and it highlights the fact that the original Star Wars and most films out of Hollywood before and since function to center and glorify whiteness.
Bullshit. You really stepped off the diving board there, Miss Nee. Where is the agenda of the 1970s movie makers? Where is the agenda of Fox 20th Century? Where is the agenda of Paramount Pictures? Where is the agenda that they were pushing and glorifying whiteness? Where is the agenda that Hollywood and the entertainment industry that is, of course, full of Jews, that, that they are promoting essentially white nationalism and white identity, something that the Americans blew the shit out of in 1945. And as we all know, which was a white nationalist Aryan dream that, of course, had a problem with the ethnicity of Jews. Where is the agenda that the Jews in the media and Hollywood and entertainment were pushing white identity? Oh, and look, Carrie Fisher.
Marginalizing people of color in the process. But while Rogue One succeeds in the big picture sense of depicting a crucial moment in the rebellion's struggle against the mighty and oppressive empire, it fails to make us care about the individual characters who are swept up in this conflict. The film is so densely plotted, so busy advancing the particulars of its story, or plowing through one of its many visually impressive action scenes, that it rarely takes the time to breathe and let us get to know the people who are doing the fighting.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, she's actually quite right here. This movie did lack character development. It was boring. I did not give a damn about any of these people that essentially did a suicide mission, unlike something like Saving Private Ryan, which is another war movie with a suicide mission element to it, so to speak, right? And that's the thing, is it's not necessarily because of the action sequences that she says, but I believe more so that the series of events were very poorly written and implemented. And I do think she is right in the sense that there wasn't any real downtime. I mean, it was, hey, we're traveling here, we're traveling there, we're traveling this place, we're traveling that place. Whereas with Star Wars, let's go to the original. You had basically Ben and R2D2 and Luke all bumming around on Tatooine until the Empire comes and fucks shit up, and then you're like, God damn you, son of the bitches! You killed Luke's parents, aunt and uncle. Sorry. Just comparison-wise, 100%, 90%, 70% right here.
So as visually impressive as they are, the film's space battles and ground skirmishes aren't as absorbing as they would be if we felt more of a connection to the characters. And when major characters die, you can almost feel the film straining to generate some powerful emotion that it hasn't earned because it hasn't taken the time to develop those characters.
Yeah, that's pretty much right. I mean, it was just painful when they tried to stir up like conflict or, obviously their suicide mission deaths, because it was just like I do not give a fuck, because I do not give a fuck about these people, because you did not do your job.
If you're a Star Wars fan, some of the most effective moments in Rogue One may be those times when familiar characters from Episode 4 show up, because we've already developed an emotional investment in those characters. Rogue One uses this to its advantage, occasionally tossing in familiar characters or visual references to Episode 4 purely as a bit of fan service, rather than because it's important to the story this film is telling.
Again, exactly right here. I mean, everyone loved the Darth Vader cameo scenes where he's just, raping shit up or choking that little bitch that couldn't get shit done because he's an incompetent asshole, and it was just like, it either doesn't do much for this movie or it's just intended as the bridge to A New Hope, because that's where this is kind of fitted into the Star Wars timeline, right?
Rogue One's central character is Jyn Erso, a young woman with a close personal connection to the development of the Death Star, a connection the Rebellion hopes to exploit in order to deal with the Empire's terrifying new weapon. Unfortunately, despite being at the center of the story, Jyn is the least distinctive character in the film's core cast of heroes. She doesn't seem like anyone in particular.
Oh my god, I've been trying to tell these Rogue One fanboys that this is exactly what I'm trying to say here. It's... Jesus Christ, I'm agreeing with fucking Anita Sarkessian.
At least the people surrounding her have some defining characteristics. Diego Luna's Cassian is a freedom fighter haunted by something in his past that makes fighting the Empire deeply personal to him. Donnie Yen plays Chirrut Imwe, a blind disciple of the Force whose connection with his gruff friend and protector, Baze Malbus, is the most emotionally involving relationship in the film. Even Saw Gerrera, played by an underused Forrest Whitaker, is more well-defined than Jyn. Gerrera is a former ally of the Rebellion who has been written off as too much of a militant extremist and who now fights his own kind of resistance.
Again, exactly right. Just no comment, no further comment. There's nothing to say when you already agree.
Both Cassian and Saw Gerrera are characters who have done morally questionable or reprehensible things in the name of fighting back against the Empire. And while previous Star Wars films have always presented the conflict between the Rebellion and the Empire in very stark terms of good versus evil, Rogue One at least flirts with questioning whether it's possible to go too far, even when your cause is just. You can see more clearly here than in any other Star Wars film how one person's freedom fighter might be another person's terrorist, and how desperate times may indeed call for some truly desperate measures.
Yeah, that's one thing. I feel like the adventurous space epic is one of those things that it's just, core to Star Wars identity, but I'm not necessarily denying that they can't make a Star Wars-themed movie in the universe that ties into the original plot that could, be a side movie and still have, some different kind of thing going on here. So I'm not denying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but you have to do it very well in order for it to be well received, because people already have a preconceived notion of what Star Wars is, right? And you have to really nail it out of the park if you're going to do something different, right?
Still, it's clear that Rogue One isn't really interested in exploring these questions and doesn't want viewers to dwell on or even think about the tremendous loss of life that happens on the Imperial side of the conflict as Star Destroyers explode and stormtroopers are slaughtered.
Well, you have labeled yourself not a fan of video games in the past, so maybe you're not a fan of Star Wars, but if you're a fan of Star Wars, you would know that the stormtroopers, they're clones. Disney wants to wash away that, but that doesn't make any fucking sense. So they are technically clones, but yeah, I understand what you're saying here. It is showcase some devastation on both sides if you really want to make this dark and shit, but Disney owns the rights to Star Wars, so I don't think that's going to happen.
And for all the talk from some people about how Rogue One and films like it constitute some kind of feminist propaganda, it doesn't take much to see that it's still very much a universe of men.
And now you've gone off the deep end. Thanks for watching. It was nice while it lasted, Anita. And throw up a like or comment if you disagree or agree.
and hopefully I see you in the next one.